how important is this stat? Elemental Mastery. Depending on the character that you're playing, and depending on the character that you're building, and the playstyle that they are going to play, it depends. Welcome back, everybody. How you guys doing? You guys are having a great day. Today we're going to talk about Elemental Mastery, one of the most mysterious and also misunderstood stats of the game. We're going to cover how much EM you want to build on certain characters, depending on what playstyle you're having. And also, is too much EM good or is it bad? If you like this video, don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Those who know that I stream live on Twitch. Let's start. So what is EM? Elemental Mastery basically strengthens or basically it strengthens the elemental reactions of the game. There are countless reactions. I'll probably make a video on that in the future because it is quite lengthy. But basically, when you combine certain reactions in the game, right, there are going to be with certain elements in the game, there's going to be an elemental reaction. And depending on what reaction you create, it will determine how much elemental mastery you will build in those characters. Why is that so? Genshin Impact has 3 categories of reactions. Okay, so what are these three categories? Let me show you guys. So this is the Kaching Main's website, by the way. So if you'd like to check it out, do come in and read. I'll leave a link down below. So we have amplifying reactions, which consists of vaporize and melt. We have additive reactions, which is spread, and aggravate, which comes from quicken. And everything else besides melt comes under transformative reactions. Okay. The reason why not melt, freeze. Freeze, everything else besides freeze counts as transformative. Reason why is because freeze itself doesn't damage enemies. That's why. Okay, you want to wonder why damage, because freeze doesn't damage any enemies. You freeze an enemy, then you continue attacking. All right, so moving on. So if you are playing with a melt team, a vaporize team, a quicken team, right? Either one of these 3 teams, and okay, quicken teams basically means spread and aggravate moving forward. You're playing with either of these 3 teams. You can have elemental mastery to boost your damage, but because these damages also scale off things like attack and your weapon type and your level and everything, your talents and stuff like that, your attack stats, all that stuff. You also want to focus on having investment in those stats. Let me give you an example. All right, so Arlecchino, I don't use Arlecchino as an example because she's a build in progress. Let's use not Kaching. Let's use Alhaitham. All right, Alhaitham, because he's Dendro, he usually will do spread reaction. So you see my Alhaitham is 84, 180 with 308 elemental mastery and also like 1.4. Okay, so because I have Jade Cutter on him, this will go up to about 1.7, 1.8. If you look at my artifacts where I built him, yes, I have EM on him, but I also have attack, I also have crit, and so on and so forth. All right. So because his play style focus on spread, which is an additive element, additive reaction, right? I don't need to put all my investments into elemental mastery because quicken does crit. Quicken does scale on attack. And so to maximize that damage, I will want to also build stats into those areas. Another character is Fischl. Where's my Fischl? She's somewhere, don't worry. Oh crap, where is she? Fischl's here. Right? Fischl's very similar because she's an aggravate. Shut. Because she's an aggravate character, I have her with attack, but I also have EM on her. So that when she does aggravate damage, the EM does help to boost the attack further, but she still needs crit and attack to create a base for additive power. And then for teams that are like a melt team or like Xiangling, 152 EM, this means that it gives me a bonus about 27%, right? But I still have a decent amount of crit on her and also attack for her to do her stuff, right? Let's look at Ayato. Ayato does he does do a little bit of vaporize as well. So I have some EM and some attack on him, and it also had a pretty decent crit of 77 to 205. So that's where you can see why, like, okay, yes, EM is good on them, but I also want to crit. I also want to hit hard with my damage. I also want to have my talents invested so that my talents can help me proc better values of damage in things like Abyss. Where EM becomes the main focus is in transformative reactions. Let's look back at Kazuha, because Kazuha is a swirler, right? Kazuha basically wants the EM to have a bigger swirl damage. All right, that's why on a lot of Kazuha builds, you will see that he goes for triple elemental mastery on these 3 pieces. Because he really wants it. He also wants an EM weapon sometimes, most of the time, unless you have ER problems. And yeah, that's to maximize his swirl. For Kazuha in particular, yes, he does have that one passive where he grants party bonus and everything. But even without this, if you want to talk about his pure swirl damage, you will want the elemental mastery as well. In teams like Hyper Bloom teams, right? In my case, I use Koki Shinobu as my Hyper Bloom trigger. That's why she has 891 EM. Because she's the one that's proccing Hyper Bloom, which is a transformative reaction. I don't play Burgeon, but let's say if I were to use Bennett, who has 119 EM, then yeah, Bennett who's triggering the Burgeon, right? The EM comes very, very helpful. And so when it comes to like reactions, just take note. If you're playing Vape, Melt, or Quicken, you also want to factor in some crit, some damage, and stuff like that, because these damages can crit. All transformative reactions cannot crit, except if you're using except if, like, the one exception is Nahida with her C2. But I'm going to assume that nobody has a C2, right, where these reactions cannot crit, where your normal reactions cannot crit, right? I need a C0, so mine won't crit. If you have C2, yes, it's will crit, right, but they're fixed. So that's another point of contention in itself. But yeah, if you're playing with these reactions, that's where you want to focus on other stats. The only exception will be if you're using Favonius weapons that require you to crit to get energy. But that is a different story altogether, right? So yeah, that's that. I think that EM is pretty good. I think that a rough scale. So if you're playing Vaporize or Melt or Quicken, I would say like 150 to 200. Like, okay, there is definitely some math to like the best value. And I am not a theory crafter. I'm not a numbers guy. But I think a value from like 150 to 200, even 100 could be pretty good. A good starting point. I would say like 300 to 350 would be the max you should go. Anything above 400 would be a bit wasted, because that stats could have gone to crit, that stats could have gone to attack, right? Because Elemental Mastery has diminishing returns, where there's comes a certain point where the increase drops, whereas you will find better value in putting them into crit instead. I'm sure there are videos on YouTube that talk about this, and you can go check them out, because I don't have the full math on that. But I would say that once it hits about 35, 350 to 400, that's probably a time where it's like, okay, time to cut it back down. Let's put some investment into other stats. So yeah, that's that. For me, my plan with Archino is like at least 200 EM probably. Maybe if we'll see how that goes, right? We'll see how that goes. Like I said, even 100 is pretty good on the character. So I wish you all the best, especially if you're pulling for Arlecchino this period. I wish you the best. Don't lose your 50/50s because I am blessing you. As I mentioned, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. Like, share, all that good stuff. Check me out on Twitch. Link is down below. Until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, be good to yourselves and the people around you. We will see you guys next time. Bye.